Football's transfer market is never short of drama, and this week's stories read like a script filled with desperation, ambition, and betrayal. At the center of it all is the saga of Marc Guéhi, Crystal Palace's captain, whose future has become one of the hottest topics in European football. In the summer, Liverpool came within touching distance of sealing his transfer, agreeing terms with the player and preparing a formal approach, only for the deal to collapse at the last moment. Palace, unable to secure a replacement, pulled the plug. For Guéhi, it was heartbreak. For Liverpool, it was frustration. Now, though, Palace are ready to compromise. Reports suggest they've dropped their asking price from $35 million to $25 million. That means the January window could reignite the chase. Liverpool remain frontrunners, but Real Madrid and Bayern Munich are circling too. Madrid, in particular, could pull their classic trick, wait until his contract runs down and grab him for free next summer. It's a race against time, and this time Liverpool will have to prove they can move faster than their rivals. Meanwhile, Manchester United appear determined to throw themselves back into the headlines, this time with an audacious pursuit of Brighton's Carlos Baleba. The 21-year-old midfielder isn't a household name, but United see him as the perfect engine for their rebuild under Ruben Amorim. Reports claim personal terms are already agreed, leaving only the small matter of Brighton's approval. And Brighton, as history shows, never sell cheap. We're talking a deal potentially exceeding $100 million. For a player still proving himself, it's a gamble drenched in risk. But for United, it's also ambition laid bare. They want someone who can dictate games, run the midfield, and anchor a new identity. The question is whether they're building around Baleba or throwing money at yet another promise that could explode into regret. Either way, this is United. Bold, expensive, and never quiet. Over at Chelsea, the Raheem Sterling dilemma has reached breaking point. Still earning $300,000 per week, Sterling has become a burden the club no longer wants but cannot shift. Fulham, West Ham, and Crystal Palace have all expressed interest, but none can match his wage demands. Sterling, for his part, refuses to budge on salary and insists he wants to stay in London. Now, Chelsea are reportedly considering the nuclear option, terminating his contract 2 years early. The cost could be staggering, with compensation between 10 to 20 million, but the savings in wages would free up millions more. The situation has descended into stalemate. Sterling won't move, clubs won't pay, and Chelsea are bleeding money on a player who barely contributes. Termination might be the only solution, even if it feels like financial self-sabotage. And if Chelsea's problem is Sterling, United's problem is Onana. The goalkeeper's Old Trafford nightmare looks to be over, with the club already offering him to Trabzonspor on loan. Talks are underway, and while no agreement has been finalized, the direction is clear. Onana is out of Amorim's plans. His statistics in England tell the story of a disaster. 150 goals conceded in just over 100 games, with only 24 clean sheets. United have already signed Senna Lamens, a 21-year-old Belgian tipped as their future number one. For Onana, a loan to Turkey might be a lifeline, but Saudi Arabia looms as an even more tempting destination, with massive salaries on offer. Either way, his days at United are numbered. The only question is whether his next chapter will be redemption or quiet exile. Over in Germany, the chaos at Bayer Leverkusen has already claimed its first victim. Erik ten Hag lasted just 62 days, 3 matches and 2 league rounds before being dismissed. Poor performances, questionable decisions, and unrest inside the dressing room saw him shown the door, though not without a handsome payout. Ten Hag pockets $6 million for his brief stay, a figure that works out at almost $100,000 per day. In the aftermath, Bayer turned to Xavi Hernandez, hoping the Barcelona legend would steady the ship. But Xavi refused immediately, unwilling to risk his reputation at a club that had just pulled the trigger so quickly. For him, the timing was wrong, the project unstable, so Bayer are left scrambling once again. Ten Hag leaves with a fortune, and Xavi bides his time, waiting for a more stable opportunity, perhaps even in the Premier League. But perhaps the biggest story brewing is at Barcelona, where the club is already preparing for life after Robert Lewandowski. At 37, Lewandowski is still producing, but his time at the top is drawing to a close. Barça have identified their ideal heir, Julian Alvarez of Atletico Madrid. Reports suggest the Catalans are preparing a bid of up to $100 million in the summer of 2026. Alvarez's pedigree is unquestioned: World Cup and Copa America winner, Champions League experience, and versatility across the forward line. But under Diego Simeone, frustration has crept in. Despite scoring nearly 30 goals in a season, Alvarez has often been shifted wide, sacrificed for tactical discipline, or even substituted early. His contract runs until 2030, but his patience may not last. Barcelona know this, and they are watching closely. If Atletico stumble, or if Simeone continues to undervalue him, Camp Nou could become Alvarez's escape. For Barça, it's the perfect solution to their looming striker crisis. For Alvarez, it could be the career-defining move he's been waiting for. This is football at its most ruthless. Clubs tearing up contracts, throwing fortunes at potential stars, and playing games of brinkmanship over the futures of proven talents. From Guehi's 25 million tug-of-war to United's gamble on Baleba, from Sterling's wages to Onana's exile, from Ten Hag's golden parachute to Barcelona's grand plan for life after Lewandowski, the stories keep coming, and the stakes keep rising. And while these clubs debate whether to pay now or wait for a bargain later, you don't have to wait. If you've watched this far, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter. Football never stops, and neither do we.